Hey everyone, welcome to my show. Be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch for all my exclusive content. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. Right? It's Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Hey, happy Tuesday. There you go. Good evening, Olympus, Bel Air. How you guys doing today? All these days, they just run together. Just run right together. All right, so let's see where we're at. You almost wrote Happy Thursday, to be fair. Okay, well, there you go. Bel Air's just mine and ISO. Well, plenty of stuff to stock up on. We got a bonus refinery incoming tomorrow. 7 minutes to go. Okay. All right. We'll just go through some of this stuff here. Make sure we hit all of our things we needed to hit. That's going to be okay. We're going to get some more of that in a little bit. All right, so we're kind of in the in-between here. We got a flash pass, which started a little late, but it's here. We got some Curon. We got some John Harrison shards. We got a couple of Jayla shards. Bottom half has quite a few more of each of these officers, as well as some extra Syndicate XP. So for 10 bucks, it's not a bad value. What are we talking about? 13 extra Jayla shards. Another 17 John Harrison. Pretty good. And 6 extra Curon. 150 rare Armada directives. Another 2,200 Syndicate XP. Like for a $10 pack, I mean, that's pretty solid value right there. You know, I'm personally too far. I mean, like I just tiered up Curon. And so they're all a mile away from a tier up. Nowhere even near Jayla. But it is at least a decent value pack that they are selling. I did not look. Oh, they left this up for one extra day. This was supposed to go down today. I guess they extended it for one more day. They took down the resources. That's interesting. They took down the resource bundles, but they left up the away team and the territory bundle in case you still had currency left. Interesting. Hey, V'ger, welcome on in. So our flash pass today was away teams. You can score doing regular away team missions or spending trade XP. Although spending trade XP, even the most basic of traits, will put you way over the top. But it is the quickest and easiest way to just get it done. We're going to speed something up there. The away team event is still going on. If you need more Hammer shards, this event is back again. Hammer personally doesn't impress me super much so far. Maybe he needs a couple of tiers. Maybe he'll be more impressive when I'm killing 52s and 53s someday. Maybe later this year. But spending solo and regular Armada directives again after we just had like 2 or 3 events over the last 10 days kind of doing this. Really seems like it's kind of bleeding dry. People who might have anything left. At least the solos are here. So if you're spending rare and epic like Dominion solos or Borg solos, which kind of source themselves, that might be a way to get some points and get on the board. Which might be actually how I at least pick up a few milestones here and there. You run Hammer for the health buff. Olympus likes him for the synergy. He's good for the synergy. I have Una for synergy. Hey, Dr. Iron Chef, thank you very much for the 100 bits. Welcome on in. I typically use Una for the synergy, just for the impulse speed, so then I can fly around and kill stuff faster. But if you don't have Una, because she's limited to just the incursion store, she's kind of a bit difficult to source. Then Hammer certainly does work better than using La'an when you want La'an below deck. So we got Crucible at War, day 2 of 3, so we'll have this one more day. They did not release an event calendar, so we don't know what else is coming this week. I would assume it's the usual Faction Hunt and Apex. We're not going to have another Borg event. We just had 2 months of Borg, so we're not going to have a Borg event. Usually those are done quarterly anyway, so we're probably skipping first quarter of Borg events. Maybe we'll see them again in June, would be my guess. And then our dailies. I mean, it's kind of a quiet calendar. We got a ranked ship XP. We've got to spend... Okay, let's speed up our research, get that done. I wasn't on much today, so let's do rapid construction here. Let's do this one. Speed up my building times a little bit. Like, I was on today, but I was really just like kind of mining in the background and not really paying attention to anything that was really going on. Alright, so I need 500 more. Of course I do. What's the quickest and easiest research I can do? Probably something in the Starbase tree. Hey, 13 hours. There you go. Probably should work on some of these now that I'm thinking about it, since we tend to do a lot of Cardassian armadas these days. Just because the spawn times are so much better, right? If you're trying to do rares and epic, well, if you're trying to do epics, the spawn time is significantly better on the Cardassian armadas, because it's 12 hours for the ones in regular space, whereas the Cardassian ones are like 15 minutes or something like that. Maybe even less. So I should probably, as long as I'm here, boost these a little bit. Has it been long enough yet? Hey, there's one. Being able to do the 42 level system armadas below Ops 39 has been great for your growth, not gonna lie. That is another advantage to those systems. You know, even people who you might have warp range on a ship, but you don't have, you're not 38 yet. You haven't hit that Ops lock to unlock those deep space places. You can still get to the Cardassian systems if you just have the warp range to do it. And that's going to give you access to higher level armada targets. I mean, you kind of need bigger people to do the heavy lifting for you, because those things certainly hit a lot harder. But if you can set, a 42 epic, you can get a lot better rewards than you can doing, a 39 epic if you can find one in, Groombridge or something. So it does open up some more possibilities for players in that 35 to 39 range, depending on what you've got for warp range to get out there. Because if we're just looking, give me a bad ship. Give me a Stella. Let's take a Stella, for example. What's the warp range on my Stella? 58. So that's almost equivalent to like a maxed out Saladin. How far can this actually get? You can definitely get to here. You gotta need 65 to get to Mora, which would be a maxed Saladin with Scotty. 2 officers and Scotty in your 3rd slot, and you can certainly reach that. Or Grush or something like that would also get you there. And that gets you into these systems. Well, where you can hit the 42s at least. And you can hit your 42 rares and epics here in Mora. And get some decent value for some Setter's chests. If you want to get out here, this is Warp 100, so that you're not going to be able to reach even with, probably even with like a Warp. Maybe you could get out here with like a Franklin. Because a Franklin starts at what, Warp 85? Because it has to in order to reach this first set of systems. Like, what are these? These are Warp 75. So 75 with a Franklin, 80 with Scotty, 84 with the other Scotty. If your Grush was decent, 10% is only adding 8. You might come up just a tad short. But if you're like 37 or 38 and your Franklin is tiered up to tier 2, so then you could reach these systems, which are Warp 80. Now you're 80, 89. Yeah, probably coming up just short. But maybe a Franklin, maybe a Meridian, if you've got it up a few tiers, maybe a Fuchsia, if you've got one of them, could make it out there. And again, you're just letting other people do the work for you. You're just taking the Setter's chests. You might be able to make it to Arawath. So definitely some options, some opportunities for other players. So V'ger's Ops 37 right now. Should I try to rush for 39 before the next arc or stay put? Rushing to 39 before the next arc, I don't know would be advisable. That's a lot to do in a very short period of time. Going from 37 to 38 might be advisable though, because at 38, your battle pass will change. Your battle pass rewards in the 30s are based on the even numbered levels. So 38 and 39 will have the same rewards in the battle pass. 36 and 37 have the same rewards. So if you can go from 37 to 38, now you're in a new category. You're getting a new, slightly higher adjusted rewards. It will also change your goals for completing the events will also be a little higher. So you might have to kill a few more things or do a little more mining or whatnot, whatever the event happens to be. So depending on how close you are to get to 38, that might be a thing. There is always the possibility on weekends. In the 40s, is it the odd levels? I feel like people have said that in the 40s, every level it changes slightly. So all of them, every time you tier up, everything changes slightly in the 40s. I haven't actually looked at that math and looked at the comparisons myself to know if that stays true, but that is what I have heard people saying. But V'ger, if you're most of the way through 37 or you've already got 38 cooking, it might be worth speeding up beforehand. If you are going to have to spend to do a bunch of buildings and stuff to do it still, you might want to hold off until the weekend just in case they sneak in some type of material spend event. They have been known to do them during the Flash Pass in the past. It could be additional Flash Pass officers. It could be somebody else completely, random. It could be like Odo or, Strike Team Crew or, uh, you know, a Picard Beverly event or something. Which also, full disclosure reminder, you might want to start being cautious with your Syndicate XP because they also like to sneak in Syndicate events during this time and not tell people. So if you're not already doing your refines for Syndicate after event reset at noon, this is your disclaimer to start making that adjustment. Because they really seem to have gotten away from putting Syndicate events on the calendar. As we saw, they ran 2 in this assimilation arc, and neither one of them were disclosed. Not that it ended up making too much of a difference because they also changed the milestones and the metrics to make it next to impossible to get past. Even you could get to the first tier and get the first reward. You could not make it all the way to the second one, even if you timed them right and did triple refineries and stuff with your Mantis. You were still going to come up short, and then it was either going to have to be buying stuff or cashing in um, multiphasics. But if you can at least guarantee yourself hitting that first milestone, it might help a little bit. Or if you get close enough to the second one, that maybe you're just like, I've got a few multiphasics. Let me cash in 2 or 3 packs and hit that second tier. It might be worth it. All right. But while we're talking here, we are going to get set up for a couple of things. So the first thing we want to do is find Talon. So if you notice by tonight's event stream title, I did purchase Tal, if you didn't watch the video yet. Spoiler alert, I do some stuff with Tal in the video I put up the other day. He's pretty cool, the way he works. We tested out, in the video, we tested out him doing Mantis kills in place of the Mantis. Going to the Axion hostiles and killing stuff over there. We're going to work on that a little more tonight. We're also going to test him out in a couple of other places, specifically killing heavy traders and seeing just kind of what kind of damage he does to these guys. Because I've heard good things about him killing these as well, which might help some people who are trying to punch up. Unfortunately, Tal was a purchase-only officer. Is he still for sale? Is he up here for another 17 hours? Yeah, he's up here for 17 more hours. Oh, here's the flash pass. What are we doing here? This is just the flash pass. The premium, if you spend the $100, you get a couple of officer shards, a couple of Borg solo directives. This assimilated authority recruit, 885. That's a weird number. That's a very weird number. That's what you use in this pack here. Okay, so 885, is that even 3? That's 3 packs. 295 times 3 is 885. Okay. So you'd get 3 pulls of this pack. 10 shards guaranteed to be rares or epics, 50-50. 3 times a chance to earn Borg Queen and a less than 1% chance to get a full unlock, a full pull of the Borg Queen. So 50-50 between rares and epics. I mean, it's all the Borg officers, so you've got plenty of good rare Borg in here. Queen, Hugh, 5 and 6, and then the miners. This is actually like a really good value. And then rares, you've got a couple of these guys, a couple of TOS guys, and a couple of... So this is... We took an existing pack, and we changed some of the officers, and then we just left the rest of it in there as filler. Wow. All right. Hey, good evening, Ace. And then you get these favor of the Borg Queens, which you have a chance to get. Doesn't even look like it's a guaranteed drop. But if you do that, how many of the... Oh, you need 48,000 to get a full unlock. So, yeah, that's not happening. That's just an extra currency you're just going to get stuck with. As long as we're talking about... We talked about Crucible. Everyone's favorite event that's a little out of date, but as long... If you're in the position... I always tell everybody this every month. I'll repeat myself, because we have some new people here. If you do not have Chen maxed out yet, this Gold Trophy Recruit Pack could be a good value for you. Because you get 5 shards, it's a 70% drop rate on uncommons, so it's very similar to the Premium Pack. terms of drop rate and shards acquired. But unlike the premium pack, there are fewer officers in here because this gold trophy recruit bundle here has not been updated in 3+ years. So it still has all of the very original officers. If you need to get Pike up a little bit, if you don't have some of these guys unlocked or maxed out, some Moreau shards, Chen shards, there's some good officers in here, even Zhao, that you could get some pulls on when you look at the other sourcing for these officers being this premium recruit pack, which gives you the exact same drop rate and payout structure, completely 100% the same. But notice that there's a lot more officers in here. You've got a couple extra people with Eurydice and Mud and Carol and Crass, and you've got a few extra rares and some of these people in here now, and then you've got some of the extra Borg people in here, kind of fluffing this up a little bit. So if you are still chasing a few officers, either trying to unlock or level up them, the gold trophy recruit pack is pretty good for that. And then you'll be able to get 3 full pulls over the course of the event, because you get about 1,200 currency if you complete your 3 dailies. So there's my sales pitch on that one. All right. So where am I? I'm up here. Let's just find a heavy. And just because, what's the point of just killing 1 when you can kill 2 or 3? I mean, we can't just take 1 and done, right? We got to do, for comparison purposes, I need a couple of different battle logs, so we can see like how many rounds it took, how much damage I took, all that fun stuff. So we are going to look at 5 of 11 with Giorgio. We're going to start with Giorgio for these little experiments. I think Nero may be on an assignment, so I'll pull him back though later too, because I do want to test with Nero and see if he is a little more consistent. If you happened to watch my video the other day, when we were testing on the Axion hostiles, the fights were going, they should have gone about 16 to 18 rounds. But there were a couple rounds in the middle there where Giorgio, even at 75%, failed to proc 2 rounds in a row. So then Tal did not have a burning to then do his thing, which is kind of bad when that doesn't happen. But just because I'm curious, could we punch up? We'll start with that while I fly this ship back and repair it. So we know we can punch up on these things with the Augur using the Harry Mudd and Beverly crew. But can we use Tal in place of that? And does it work better? So we're taking 5 of 11 plus Tal and Giorgio. And we're going to go see if we can hit some heavies and see how this goes. Hey, good evening, Norwich. Good evening, Lloyd. Welcome on in. We are playing around with Mr. Tal tonight. Now, my Tal is only tier 1. I was only spending the minimal amount to get him and to unlock him. So therefore, I could explore some of this new content with him and start thinking about some of these new possibilities. But he does put back on the table, you know, you could still go to the Axion systems and do stuff. Like if I wanted to take my Pylum, I could still go here and kill stuff. And use, you know, Yuki was a requirement. You basically had to use Yuki and Khan, because you had to strip the shields with Yuki. You needed Khan for the crit, so you could plow through everything. And, you know, you took a decent amount of damage while doing it, but you were able to finish the fight in a reasonable amount of time. I will say it's a lot more expensive than of a repair bill as opposed to just using the Mantis and getting it done. But you can fill things up a little bit faster, and you can get more value out of it that way. But I mean, the Mantis is like a 5 million repair bill, Tritanium. My Pylum's like 100 million Tritanium to repair, so it's a you're sacrificing a lot to try and do it for, you know, for time value, for sure. How do you get Tal? He's up here in the store. It's the only way to get him. Is you have to. There's a $50 option that gets you an unlock. There's a $100 option that gets you an unlock, and you can tier him up to tier 2. Tier 1 to tier 2 is a 1% change. Not that big of a deal. And since we don't know what the ongoing sourcing of him is going to be, um, you know, what's the rush to get him to tier 2 if he's going to be stuck there forever? Because we don't know how we're going to get him afterwards. That extra 1%, yeah, it might shave a little bit off the time here and there, cut down things a few rounds. If you're taking 6% as opposed to 5%, you know, the fight does end a few rounds faster. Now, Dean, so far, Tal does work. He is working as intended. Just as long as, you know, your guy or girl hits the burning like they're supposed to. He does work as intended, so. But we are testing out a few different things here. All right, so let's look at these battle logs real quick. Using the Pilum on these heavy transports, I did not take very much damage, a couple 100,000 at best. We took this down in 21 rounds. Using the Pilum, Pike, Moreau, Talon, because Talon is still better than my Cath. The fight went 21 rounds. And I went from... it's about 40,000 hull health, I guess, in total that I took over the course of that fight. Or 400,000, sorry. I'm taking 20,000 a round for 20 rounds. Yeah, it's about 400k that I lost in terms of hull health. So while that ship's repairing, we're gonna try punching up first and see how this goes. Using an auger with Tal. Well, I won. I can tell you that much because my Crucible just popped. Wow. Okay. That was not a lot of damage at all. All right, so let's go back here. Pilum's fights, they all went about 20 rounds. I just want to make sure for consistency. 19, 20, 21 rounds. So we'll call it 20 rounds on average. Now here we go using the Pilum. I'm sorry, using the auger. Only 17 rounds. I take 50,000 hull health each shot, so I'm taking a little bit more damage. Does Pike or Picard's Captain's ability enhance Tal? That's what we're going to test in a minute as well. Now you're only going to be able to just use one of them. You're not going to be able to get the synergy to get them the big buff. So I think it has to be Pike. Because I feel like Picard's ability is less because he gets a bigger synergy bonus. But here we go. This fight went 17 rounds. Did Giorgio proc every round? Or at least, the question is, did Tal go off every round? And the answer so far is yes. Giorgio hasn't missed. All right, so Giorgio missed there, but Tal still went off because Giorgio extends for 2 rounds. There's the round where we missed. So he missed a couple rounds in a row. And then she triggers again for consistency purposes. Other fun thing to note about Tal, even though his ability requires burning to go off, his ability does not happen at the end of the round like burning damage does. His ability happens at the beginning of the round, which can lead to, as what happens here in round 17, doing enough damage to kill your opponent. So at the start of the round, bam, there's the rest of your hull health. Bye, fight over. No shots fired in round 17, you're just dead. Yeah, basically. So this thing started with 9 million hull health, and the auger shooting it and doing the damage, yeah, did, you know, I mean, it's doing a decent amount of damage. Well, because not a lot of it's getting through, because the shields aren't down. We still haven't broken through the shields in 15 rounds. It still has shields up. If you look at even when the fight's over, this thing still has nearly half its shield health left. So this fight, if I were just using like a regular crew, he would still have shields up, and this fight would probably take a considerable amount of time. Let's go back and look at when I'm using the Pylum and I take the shields down. When do the shields actually drop? When do we finally get through with a regular crew? Shields are depleted here in round 11. So the end of round 11, it takes me 11 rounds to get through the shields on this thing with a better ship, putting out a lot more damage. It just has a lot of shield health. It's got 16 million shield health and 18 million hull health. So by the time you get through the shields, now you gotta start putting on a lot of hull damage too. So you're bypassing the shields with Tal and you're just doing straight hull damage. So he's taking the ship down a lot faster. And we can kill a few more of these guys. And this is a much cheaper repair bill. You know, a Pylum's going to cost me 100 million titanium to repair, and Augur's going to cost me about 1 million. But if I can get 7 or 8 kills just using a very basic crew here, I do want to also try, we'll try this crew on a bigger ship in a second too. But I'm just looking for consistency right now. So there we go. So round 1, Giorgio did not go off this time. So she's not better than Nero in that aspect. Nero will never work round 1 because Nero requires you to fire. The advantage to Giorgio is she should go off. She's 75%. She should go off round 1. But there are times where she's not going to. And if she doesn't go off 2 rounds in a row, you can miss your Tal damage. Since I don't feel like flying all the way back, we'll just keep fighting until I blow up. Has anyone ran him in an Armada just to make sure he's off? I have not tried using him in an Armada. He is not supposed to work in Armadas. I would like to think that they made sure to get that coding right, because otherwise it'd be ridiculously broken. Seems like the 5% is working off base because fights lasting 21 plus rounds should be mathematically impossible. Essentially, assuming again that he hits every round. Because if you don't have burning, he doesn't work. So if your burning misses, i.e. Giorgio doesn't go off multiple rounds in a row, which is a possibility with, RNG, then that's a round where his ability doesn't work, and then you kind of that one just kind of gets skipped. All right, so we're just about dead here. So what did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 heavy transports with an auger. Whereas if I were using the Mud Beverly Con crew, I might get 2. I might be able to do 2 heavies and then probably die on the third one. Now I do want to switch ships for a second here. And if I'm using an actual good ship, how much faster does this fight go? I bet round 1 does not count as having burning. If Giorgio goes off round 1, which she can, Tal's ability does trigger and does do the damage in round 1. Nero will never work in at the start of round 1 because his requires you to fire a weapon first. But you can see right here, she procs, and then Tal does his thing and takes the damage off. So right there, round 1, they're already down 5% before a shot's even been fired. But there are rounds where she does miss, even at 75% at tier 4. If you max her out, she goes to 80%. While we're flying out here, let me find Nero. I'm sure he's on an away team money grab officer, for sure. But he is certainly earning his money. I mean, he always was. This is his original ability. They kind of just left him with that ability and brought it back. So, oh, hey, an extra pylon blueprint. Well, look at that. Just what I always needed. But one of the other things I did want to mention, because we did talk about this a little bit on Sunday in the stream as well, Tal does work like Yuki in the sense that since he's artificially removing damage, if you don't destroy the ship, they get all that back. So, like, he's great for base defense. You put him in the back row, he's taken off a whole lot of extra damage from your opponent. You can see right here, this big-ass Rataran, 700 million, attacking my base. Tal's right here on the miner in the back. He's the last ship to get blown up. I took 30% of its hull health away from Tal, and then about another 25 or so hull health away from all of my weapon shots, from all of my defense platforms and things. But because I did not kill the Rataran, this blacked out hull health, it gets back after the fight's over. So you can't artificially strip all their hull health and give them a huge repair bill with this way. You actually have to still do enough damage to win the fight and finish it off the rest of the way. Pon does help with that if he procs, because he delays them for 3 rounds. So that's 3 full rounds before they even start getting through your ships. I don't know if this is one of the fights where Pon actually went off. Yeah, this is one of the fights where Pon went off. So 3-round delay, they don't get to do anything. Giorgio hits right here, so Tal's doing damage. So I took 15% of his hull health away before the fight even started. And then it took him, obviously, 3 rounds of not shooting. We're doing little bits of damage. We've got the strike team crew working, doing their thing. Still doing extra damage. So now he's not taking any shield health damage at all either, because Una has negated all that. So now it's just fire away. Unfortunately, the downside to doing this with the tiny little bold defense ships is that they're one shot and dead. I mean, not that I'd survive much against uh, some of these big hits anyway. But we're not putting enough hull damage out. If the cannons were bigger, if I had maybe higher research or things like that for them, maybe, you know what, let's face it, this is a 700 million ship. Probably still not getting it, but at least maybe I'd get a little closer. Maybe we'd get a little closer. So, it's nice how they display it just emptied and not red like the standard damage. Yes, that is a good distinction. All right, so now we're putting him on the pylum. Those fights before, the fights with Pike, Moreau, Talon, those fights were going 20 rounds on average. And just because I'm curious, we'll do one or two of these. And we'll just take a peek at how long these fights go now. With Tal doing the extra damage, the fight only went 14 rounds. So I shortened the fight significantly. I'm taking more damage, but if I'm taking, we'll call it 55 on average, right? 55,000, we'll say 13 rounds, 715k, because I'm assuming at the start of round 14, hopefully I kill it. Yeah, I kill it before he gets a shot off. So 13 rounds at 55,000 per round. I took about 715,000 damage. So I'm taking a little more hull damage this way, even though the fight is ending faster than back here where we used this crew, because they were reducing the damage so much. Even though the fight was going 20 rounds, I was only taking 20,000 per shot. So this still seems like the better crew, if you have the ability and the capacity of a G4 higher level ship to kill them. If you're using a G3 ship, like we were using a minute ago with the Augur, Tal's giving you an advantage in terms of punching up. Sorry, Jimmy, I missed when you asked that question. How many rounds did which go? So these fights, yeah, with Tal we went 13 or 14 rounds. The Rotaran fight, if I boosted Tal, could I have won? Like if I had Pike, Moreau, Tal, or that doesn't even work. I have to have, so I'd have to, if you wanted to boost him all the way, you'd have to have Pike, Moreau, Tal, and you'd have to have Burning on another ship or two. Which I guess if you have Strike Team on one and something on another, your chances of putting Burning on are pretty good. That might have worked. We're going to try that here in a second, because so Pike's basic ability, we're going to take him off for a second. We'll just put her there. All right, we're going to swap out 5, and we're going to switch Pike in. And we're going to try this again. Am I mining? I'm mining. I was going to say, why am I not moving closer to do this? But it's because I'm mining. Let's do this. Galaxy Exocomp. Plus 200 warp speed. There we go. Let's just use that one. Yeah, the Retarn fight went 9 rounds because Pawn also went off. The fight, I think the other fights were, I died in 6 or 7 rounds. If Pawn didn't work, he hit me a few times. It was a thing. I was trying to protect an ally. He kept attacking me. His repair bill ended up being way more than mine, but then again, he's got a 700 million Retarans, so I think he can afford the repair bill. But we'll look and see if Pike does make an impact. And just exactly kind of what kind of boost he's doing here. Yeah. If he works, if he gets boosted, and you've got Pike, Moreau, Tal, and you've got burning on, other ships, that could be a big damage win. All right, so let's swap Pike in here. So Pike is increasing the effectiveness of all officer abilities that trigger in combat by 40%. So let's see if he does anything. Let me just go back and see how this is worded. So he increases effectiveness. So it doesn't show her ability being increased, but the damage is reflected that her ability is doing more than it's supposed to. All right, so the fights with Tal on the Pylum that we just did, these went about 13, 14 rounds. So now we're going to see if Mr. Pike makes those any faster. Yeah, if you have him in base defense, I think Jimmy's right there. It would be 11%. Because you can get Pike, Moreau, Tal on the one ship, on the survey, in the back, behind everything. You can have multiple other ships throwing burning out there to make sure that it's hopefully up for multiple rounds during the course of the fight. Put a Giorgio crew out there, put a, strike team crew out there, and that should get burning going for a bit. All right, so Nero is available. So we'll switch him in a minute too and see if he does better with his proc being more consistent. What I'm using right now, Lloyd's math looks closer to right. So instead of being 5% per round, he's going to be 7% per round. I think that's about what I was expecting. So let's see how this goes. So again, with 5 of 11 as captain, we went 13 or 14 rounds. We'll kill a couple of these guys and then take a peek. Oh, apparently I finished a quest. Alright, so let's see how long these fights went. With Pike now. The fight went down to 11 rounds. I'm getting more damage. I'm taking more damage because I don't have as high of mitigation without 5 of 11. My mitigation's down to 59%, so I'm taking 77,000 per round here. $70K per round. But shorter fight also means there's less of an opportunity for Giorgio to miss, which is nice. Oof, that was a critical. That stung a little bit. And then, so 10 rounds of that, start of round 11, they're dead. What was my mitigation with him? That's about 70. It was maxed. I can tell you just by eyeballing it. Yeah, 70.5%. So I lost 10% mitigation by losing 5 of 11. So for hostile grinding, I think the 5 of 11 crew is probably still better. Steven, I guess, I don't know. Maybe it is about the same. Maybe it's almost identical because the fight went an extra 2 or 3 rounds. So the extra couple times I get shot makes up for the times that I'm getting extra damage each fight. It's almost exactly the same. You know, 60K for 12 rounds is 720,000. 70K for 10 rounds is 700,000. So, you know, we're marginally different there. And even these other fights here, you know, again, looking at the black here, you know, what's that? Maybe 75, 80% of the total damage was Tal stripping all the hull health away. And I'm only actually shooting it, doing this little amount of damage. I still don't get the shields all the way down. Now, even with the higher ship, it still has shield health left when it's being killed. Yeah, we're going 10 rounds again. And she's hitting every time, which is good. And yes, obviously it does get better when you tier Tal up. Now, Tal himself, he starts at 5% and then it goes up 1% each round, each tier until you get to the end, and then he skips from like 8% to 10%. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8, and then he jumps from 8 to 10. Currently, you could only buy him and get him to 5 unlocked, or 6 if you bought the extra pack. If you bought both packs, you'd be a third of the way through this lieutenant tier. But again, now we don't know how he's going to be sourced going forward. So we kind of just have to sit on our hands and wait, you know, for them to put him back out there or put him in a pack somewhere. You know, I think Olympus was joking that they're going to put him in the elite pack, right? I'm very confused how my alliance member with the Northcut is just asking me if I blew up his ship. That was Barkman. You'd never make such a foul suggestion. I apologize. Um, but yeah, we do have these officer recruit packs here, right? And we do have our new elite Romulan pack. Is this a spot where they would add Tal? Well, he would kind of fit right in because here's the rest of his crew, right? Here's Decius, Here's Mirek. There's Charvanek. I think Lenar and Severus are part of that group too, and probably Aoki. So why not just make an addition and throw him in here and then have everybody cashing in all their Romulan credits to get packs here to try and get officer shards for him to tier him up. And then you'd have to buy the Prime, right? Because you'd want the better garbage, and now you're buying the Prime too if you're going to open all those packs. Kind of seems like a winning marketing strategy. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. But yeah, obviously, if he can be tiered up, whatever the path is going to be for that, it's going to be a tremendous, tremendous upgrade. All right. Now the other thing, as long as we're testing on these heavy transports here, the other thing I do want to look at is I want to go back to that first crew with the auger, and I want to put Nero on instead of Giorgio, because we did have those rounds where Giorgio missed, and I'm curious to see if Nero is more consistent. Nero's always going to miss round one, but after that, are there going to be times where he misses in the middle? You know, because his ability goes off of shots. Every time the ship strikes the opponent with a weapon attack, he's got a 50% chance of burning it for 2 rounds. So every time you're shooting it, he's got the possibility of triggering here. Because he's just burning with rage because he's the Incredible Hulk. I see what you did there. The way Scopely works is they would nerf him after a while. I mean, you took the officer away for 3 years because his mechanics were broken. You finally fixed him, then put him back out there. Would they yank him? I mean, certainly they would certainly yank him if they felt like it was a problem, but I think it would be severely frowned upon if they give him this big, glorious, marching parade / return after a 3-year hiatus and then pulled him out of the game again. That'd be pretty terrible. We'd all be wanting refunds, is really what it would come down to. Belair has a math question. You have a bet with a friend. 5 plus 2 times 10 equals. Well, based on the order of operations, we do our PEMDAS. You would do the 2 times 10 first, and that'd be 20. And you would add the 5 to it, making 25. You would not do it as it's written and do 5 plus 2 for 7 times 10 equals 70, because that does not follow the correct order of operations. I'm also sad that I still remember PEMDAS, but I guess some things really do get stuck in there for years and decades and decades. I didn't even have nuns with like a ruler slapping my hand every time I got something wrong. If you wanted it to be 70, you'd have to put parentheses around the 5 plus 2. Then it would be 70 because you would do the parentheses first. 5 plus 2 equals 7, then multiply it times 10. So, if you really want to know what the answer is, you can put it into an Excel sheet. Excel will do it for you, right? At least it better. Blank workbook equal 5 plus 2 times 10. 25. Because Excel knows the correct order of operations as well. And if you want to get it to 70, you have to do this. Oh, now it's 70. So hopefully you won something nice from proving your friend wrong. All right, so we're going back to the auger. We're putting Nero in that spot. And we're going to put 5 of 11 back as captain here for the extra mitigation. And now we're going to go try and punch some dudes in the face. Lloyd says, if you get a higher level tall, you can take out big ships with the bold defense, and the spenders would not crack bases, just thinking about it. That's certainly a possibility, but then again, what do the spenders really get from cracking bases anyway? They don't get a whole lot of resources, because the average person doesn't have anywhere near the amount of resources that they need. You know, level 60 guy with his 700 million Rataran, we're talking trillions of or quadrillions of resources. You know, well, let's just hypothetically speaking. What tier is that? Is that tier 9? Tier 8? What's he got that thing at? Let's go back and find it. 40, so it's tier 8. So what are we even talking about for resources? You know, him cracking my base with my, couple billion, whatever, resources, it's a drop in the bucket to a guy like that. So all of their resources are coming from events and packs and things like that. Ships. If we look at Rotaran on G5 Epic, to go from tier 8 to tier 9, base cost is 252 trillion tritanium, 6.3 trillion dilithium. If you assume hypothetically research even cuts that in half, it's still 125 trillion tritanium to do one tier of the ship. Repair cost 221 billion. Like, even just cracking my base, I don't even have enough material cost for him to get his repair bill back half the time. So they're doing it for other people, and they would have to stop doing that. Oh, that's what he meant. I was completely wrong. I didn't even realize he's got a war coalition chasing him that he's using to do his events. And he's just letting himself get attacked. Did I accidentally attack a war coalition? Not even realizing it? Probably not. No. Nope, nope, nope. Didn't even take it out. Okay. I'm just so not used to seeing people who are still like negative rep, especially someone who's that high ops level. Like, you never did the 10 million lock? Like, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, those smaller players are going to have to do it for themselves. Do their own heavy lifting. So, TC Lion, tune in for the Star Trek Fleet Command. Stay for the fundamentals of math. This is Fundamentals of Math. I am your professor, Tiberius. Today's lesson is Order of Operations. Okay, so it seems like we're actually getting beat up a little bit more here. So when we were doing those original fights back here, nope, those aren't the ones that I want. It's this group right here. So when we were punching up here with these guys, We were taking some decent chunks of damage. The fights were going about 17 rounds. Now we come up here. Are these doing any better? We're still taking some big chunks of damage. Fight's still going about 17 rounds. Because again, Nero never procs until the middle of round 1 at the earliest. So now Tal starts working. There goes Nero again. There goes Nero. So he's consistently triggering each round. So Tal goes off every round from 2 through, well, so far 10, 11. Okay. So Nero definitely seems like he should be more consistent because there's just more opportunities for a longer fight. So if I was punching up, if I'm going out to level 52 and I'm killing those immortals, I might be able to actually kill a couple with this type of crew. Whereas before they would just, laugh at me and swat me to the ground. I might actually be able to take a few of them down. And I think we got 6 last time. And we got 7. We got 7. So let's see if we still get 7. Olympus says, one of your whales at Ops 57 will crack you for a billion par steel and a bag of potato chips. Okay. Are they at least like the ones with the ridges? Are we talking about like the wavy lays? What are we talking about there? You asked. Carpe Diem, welcome on in. You finally triple lock champion. Going to focus on boosting your Fed ROM reps now. Well, first off, congratulations on the champion lock. I'm getting close to that day myself. And I'm greatly looking forward to it because then I can start doing all 3 faction sets of dailies again and start accumulating all those credits. I've got 160 million to go for champion on Klingon, and then I'll have all 3 to the max there. And then I can kind of just hang tight for a little bit, stock up on some credits, and then worry about, moving up afterwards when I'm starting to move into the 50s. Because there's really no reason to move up super high after that, because what your faction dailies are going to require you to kill is going to be stuff you're not going to be able to reach, or you're going to have to go all the way out. If I move my rep up any higher, I'm going to be out killing stuff over here. And this is a long way to go to do your dailies. So, okay. So we learned that this worked out pretty well for killing heavy traders. We're going to switch back to Giorgio because I want to try and end the fight sooner, and getting that extra round 1 seems to make a bit of a difference. I do want to add Galinar. I think I'm going to swap you guys for this. We'll do that. All right. Now we're going to try something a little different. We're going to take the Pilum, and we're going to go kill some of these things. But I think, from what people are telling me, is that you can actually go quite a bit higher than you normally would. If I'm using my Mantis, I'm probably killing 41s and 42s. Normally, 40s and 41s. But it seems like, from what people were talking about, I think Lube and Stewie were discussing it the other day. Lube was hitting with his Pilum, he was hitting 49s and he got it done in 5 kills. His cargo was full. Well, that's interesting. I mean, what do we got to lose? It's only a repair bill, right? I have no idea what tier his pylum is. I might get completely destroyed, in which case everyone will have a good laugh. So let's see what happens. Lloyd saying 49s, Jimmy saying 49s. Science! Let's find out. Let's see what happens. Like I said, what's the worst that could happen? We die and I lose a token? Oh no, I lost a token. But we're going to find out just exactly what we can do here. Not that it takes an incredibly long time anyway. As long as you are in a system where you can actually get the debuffs, you can do it with your Mantis in about 10 minutes anyway. Maybe if there's another person there, it might take you 10 or 15. And it's a lot cheaper of a repair bill. But if you've got, some cargo room and whatnot, I mean, my Mantis holds a little over 100k, so I'm getting about an extra 90,000 venom per trip by using the Pylum instead. All right, we've never been to this system ever. 2 billion. Well, this is going to be interesting. We won. Wow. So we hit this apex that has 2 billion. As you can see, Tal did all the work. Took 95% of the hull health down with him. Did lose a big chunk. But what did we get? We got 40,000 venom off of this. Fight went 21 rounds. So I'm going to guess somewhere in here. If it's going 21 rounds, we're going to see a Giorgio miss. Oh, there she went again. No, okay, so Tal. There it is. So round 13 and 14, she goes off in 13, but she didn't go off in 14, and at the start of 15, she also didn't go off, so no Tal in round 15. So we missed a round. And we missed again. We missed 2 rounds. 2 rounds of no Tal damage. Alright, so let's get the rest of this done. Wonder how your Valdor would do. I hear the Valdor on 45s is what Stewie and Lube were talking about. When I was talking to them earlier in our group chat, they were saying he was using the Valdor and he was killing 45s, and he said he got his cargo full in like 10 or 12 hits. I mean, if I'm getting 40k a hit, I'm going to be done in 5 hits. 2 hits. Me hitting you, you hitting the floor. You almost sent a miner out to get Trit. Well, Olympus, that was last month. We don't need to mine that anymore. And if I had put on below deck, I could have squeezed out a little more cargo room. I didn't because I want to make sure I at least kept the stats up a little bit. But so there we are. We're full up. We still have a little bit of hull left, and we're done. Wonder how a North Star would fare if you could get it there, right? I don't know what the warp range is. If it could make it. That would be the challenging part. I also just realized that I may be unshielded on my other account by now. Uh-oh. I think my bubble was only going to go through till about 7 o'clock or so. So while we're flying back here, I'm just going to divert my attention over there for a minute. That's going to take a minute to load up. All right. My main account here is on server 40, Carpe. I'm not telling you what server my other account is on because I just told you my shield was down. You're going to go looking for me. Yeah, see, obviously their repair bill is a lot higher, but hey, you know, 5 hits and done, and obviously as I level up the pylum and get it higher up, this could be better. Let's swap out. Let's put on below decks. What do I think that's going to do to my cargo capacity? You know, if I just put her there instead. I don't know that I need Galinar. He's only giving me an extra like 10% boost. I'm going to probably have to kill 6 things anyway for the extra cargo space. So let's see what this does. You're on server 30. Okay. I don't think we've crossed paths. No, my other account is on a European server. It's on 118. But hopefully I'm in territory, so I'm at least a little protected there too. Oh no, I still got an hour left. Okay, cool. I guess I made it for longer than I thought it would. But as long as I'm over here, let me do my mining real quick. Alright, so we've done some fun experiments so far with heavies and with Axion hostiles. Is there anything else we can think of that we can hit, we can test Tal out against? We know he doesn't work against armadas, or at least he's not supposed to. So I don't want to waste armada directives trying him against those. But is there any other like weird hostiles or anything like that that we would consider using him against? I don't think, you know, fights against like Borg and Swarm don't really go that long. I don't see him making much of a difference on those guys. So it's like, what else? What else could we attack? Now, I will say the trade-off here, obviously, I'm taking a lot higher repair bill, but I am getting basically double the cargo as opposed to using my Mantis, which means that doing double pulls from the refinery now becomes a lot more viable. So now I can start either getting more Mantis parts or more being able to do double pulls of Syndicate XP on a regular basis. Suddenly becomes a lot less time consuming. I don't think it would do much against Borg. I mean, we could try it, but was I doing Borg hostiles earlier? Yeah, so I was killing 37 Borg probes earlier. Just curious. Like, how long do these fights even go with the Talios? 4 rounds? Like, killing Borg hostiles, I don't know. You're going to get much of a big trade-off there, plus the cargo capacity and things like that. You know, the pylon would be full in like 5 or 6 hits based on what these guys are dropping. So I don't know that Borg would be a worthwhile mechanic to even test out. Could it work? Sure. Is it going to be more efficient and effective than, you know, a Vidar or a Talios? No, because you're wasting a transwarp conduit and you're giving up so much extra cargo capacity. Jem'Hadar. I don't know those fights go very long either. It might just be limited to, I mean, heck, you know, Tal having uses for killing Axion hostiles, killing heavy traders well above your, you know, punching up well above your pay grade, um, and then possibly having options in base defense. Makes him a pretty versatile officer, and seems like one that, you know, even though, yes, you have to buy him, you are getting multiple uses out of. So what did we get there? 224, I think, is what I'm maxing out at. I think the rest of it is Phantom because of the display bug with La'an still. Denver Stone, max Mantis damage research. You're getting 200k loot in under 5 minutes easy. I mean, if you've got all the research done and stuff on your Mantis, and you've made it that far, and you've got the cargo research done, and you've got the loot, the damage research done, your Mantis is probably your better bet. But for people who might still be lagging on that, I think I'm still behind on some of that stuff. I've got weaponry to 7 and cargo to 7, so yeah, I still got some things to do here for sure. But this could help speed it up because now I can use my Pylum to get a lot of extra loot, so then I can do double pulls from the refinery, so then I could catch these things up, which would then let me switch back to the Mantis and save on the repair bills. So, yeah, there's possibilities there. Hey, good evening, Barkman. Yeah, it's definitely something for those mid 40 players to play around with a little bit and get some options. And obviously, the players in their 30s can do some punch ups on the heavy traders. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would really be worth hitting. I guess we could try the non-heavy traders and see if there's a difference there too. Although those are easier to kill because of Pike, because Chen's just better than Talon. So I don't know if we're getting a whole big return. You know what? Let's switch to Nero. because these fights are going 21 rounds. Because again, Giorgio is missing somewhere in the middle. So let's repair. We'll do one more run. I'll use Nero instead. And let's see what we come up with. Put Nero there. And we go kill some 49s. And we'll grab these while I'm right there and thinking about it. Hey, Grurib. Welcome to the chat. First time being here. You started less than a week ago on this game. You're currently upgrading to Ops 14. I've looked up info about speed ups and find that later in the game I will get loads of speed ups apparently from stuff, but at my level, is there any way to really farm anything above the occasional 1 or 5 minutes from loot? And Barkman promptly responded, no. As far as farming speed ups and things, no, not so much. There are, times where you get them from missions, and you have to be a little mindful of how you spend them. You can always also use Latinum in place of speed ups to speed things along, both research and buildings. But at your level, you're also kind of limited in terms of what you can get as far as those speed ups go, or how much Latinum you can acquire, because it's very limited in that level range, other than buying packs that have Latinum in them. But again, even at that level range, they're still going to be pretty low on that scale. So it's, doing your dailies, getting your 7-day chests, getting your 10-day chests. You get some speed ups from those things, and then the occasional missions, give them out. But that's really about it for the entry level. Fortunately, things don't usually take a whole lot of time there. But if you are just trying to zoom through some things, yeah, you're going to have to burn some Latinum probably. And then if you're trying to get Latinum, you're probably going to end up having to buy something to get it. You want to stick to free to play if you can. Yep, exactly. So if you're trying to do it free to play, there just aren't too many options at that level, because things don't usually take too long, maybe a couple of hours for most of the stuff at that level range. But hey, Lightning Hawk, welcome on in. You just got the Ops 22. Awesome. Yeah, if you are going to spend money, the two most long-term value investments you can get are the second builder and the second research queue. The second builder is $5. The second research queue is $20. So for $25, you can have 2 buildings and 2 researches going simultaneously, which is a big addition. The building one isn't as big of a deal. As you get higher into the game and you get higher levels, not only do the buildings take a lot longer, but you also get more of them. There's some these other buildings that don't unlock until 15 or 20 or 25, that you get some of these extra buildings in here. Scrapyard, Exocomp Factory, some of that stuff. Some of these extra mining nodes, these extra docks and defense platforms and things. So the second builder isn't as big of a priority, but it's also only $5. So if you're going to spend 20, you might as well spend 25, right? Get them both. But the second research queue, there's always research to do. There's so much research, and just when you think you're getting caught up, then you tier up a level and suddenly everything gets a whole new set of researches, or you know they unlock or they add a whole new tree, and you're like, oh, I thought I was just getting close. And you know at the low levels you probably just have like these three or the away teams, and you're just looking at like these four trees. And then at some point in time, oh, you're 20 now. Here's the outlaw one. Here's the territory one. And then you get the starship one. And star bases gets added too. And you're like, oh man, now there's 8 research trees. That's a lot to keep up with. And doing it off of one single research tab is certainly challenging. So yeah, I wish the second research queue was only $5. That would have been way too. That would have been a steal. We were hoping when they put the builder out and it was $5, we were like, sold. I will absolutely take that. And I think we responded way too quickly, because then they got the idea like, hey, wait a minute, there's a lot of value here. Maybe we could get more money with the second research queue, and suddenly the price on that one went to $20. And I don't even know what the third one cost. Was that one might have been like $50, because they were just like, well, if you're gonna buy two, you might as well buy a third one, right? And I think now there's a fourth one you can buy. Is there a fourth research queue? I think there is. That one's got to be $100 though, right? Blueprints, ship blueprints, more ship blueprints. Ooh, I could get Tribune blueprints. How much would this ship cost me? Let's see. 650 divided by 25 would take 26. So therefore they value a G4 Epic ship at $2,600. Oh. Ooh. I think I felt my liver just explode on that one. Ow. Ooh. We've talked about the value that they put on ships in the past. Like what's a pylum? $1,300, I think. 350 divided by 27. It's about 30. Yeah, by 13 packs. So getting a G4 Epic, a rare ship, is $1,300. Getting an Epic ship is double that at $2,600. Dear God. And yet there are people who are just like, okay, buy now, pay later. That's what they made credit cards for, right? Think of all the points I'm going to get. If I bought these all through the web store, think of all the multiphasics. I mean, they do give you a decent number of materials. I mean, I don't need all 25. I already have 2. I've already got 50. And I've got a bunch of faction credits. I think I only need like 20 of these. So like $2,000. No, stop yourself. What are you talking about? That's crazy talk. Spending $2,000 on a virtual ship you're going to outgrow in like 3 levels. Fourth research queue is $100. Yeah. Oh, the third one's only 20 still? Well, that's a nice value. Well, then there you go. So for under $50, you could get second builder, second research, third research queue, and that's $45. And then is the other pack still in here? The Chen Talon pack, is that still in the store as well? Away team traits, warp stuff, extra primes. I guess they took that one down. Unless maybe they're just not showing it to me because this account has both those officers maxed. Let me look over here and just see if it's still here. This is my free to play account. That's Ops 36. and completely free to play. Made it to 36 here in. We are almost through our 10th month, and we're at 36 on this account. You can make it to 34 in about 6 months. You can get the Epic ship in about a month after that. So 6 to 7 months to get the 34 and get that G3 Epic ship, that Augur, that Enterprise, whatever, unlocked. Completely free to play. It is possible. I've got a whole YouTube tutorial series that shows you how I did it, and you can too. After that, it gets a little slow going because you have to start playing a little catch up, and you also want to spend time upgrading your cool new G3 Epic ship. And since those things use up a tremendous amount of resources, that also slows down your ability to spend those resources on buildings and grow that way. So you kind of have to hit the brakes for a little bit. All right, so second builder is $5. One extra research queue is $20, but it looks like you can buy 2 of them. Okay, awesome. Second repair queue's okay. It's okay for $20. But I don't see the Chen Talon pack. It was up over the weekend. I guess maybe it was a short-term one. They took it down. Because that one's another one that's a good investment. To max out Chen and Talon faster. Really just the Chen shards is what you want it for, but that's also pretty good value for only like $20. I think the jelly was 800 when it came out. I think the jelly's still 800 bucks. I think it's 15 blueprints for $100, and then you need 120 blueprints for the ship, so that would be 800. The Enterprise and stuff, they're 600. So yeah, I mean, you could just blow through thousands and thousands of dollars just buying all the blueprints for ships. And people do it. They have the money. They want to they want to progress faster. Good on them for having themselves in a situation where they can do that. What do you do for a living? I want to do what you do. I'm the CEO of my own company. Damn it. Is level 22 in 8 weeks, good or average? That's pretty decent. That's a decent pace there. 2 months in, 22, yeah. That's a pretty good pace. I mean, you can get, yeah, Barkman, you can get Chen and Talon for free. It just takes a while to do it. And if you can spend $20 and get a huge head start and get them weeks faster, especially Chen, you can get her weeks or in some cases months faster and get her maxed out. It's going to make moving through those lower levels a lot easier in terms of doing dailies and rep grinding and all that other fun stuff. Which will mean you'll be able to hit bigger targets, which means you'll be able to get better speed up drops, which means you'll be able to speed things along a little faster. So, ooh, missing out on 45 epics. So Pike Moreau, Tal on base defense. We were talking about that at the beginning of the show. Seems like that would be actually pretty good. That seems like that would give you quite a few different options for sure. Oh, excuse me. I yawned again. I know. I'm sorry. Everybody start drinking. But yeah, this seemed to work out very well in terms of. That's what I forgot to do. I didn't look at the actual battle logs. So Giorgio fights were going 21 rounds because she was missing somewhere in the middle. How are these Nero fights going? They were going 20 rounds because he's not hitting round 1. Does he ever miss in the middle? You would think he shouldn't, but I mean, it is still random. You can still flip a coin and come up heads 5 times in a row. So let's just make sure Tal goes off every round. I could probably just put these into Spock's Club and make my life easier and see how many times he procced. In fact, let's do that in a second here. But yeah, it does look like Tal's going off. Tal hasn't missed yet other than round 1, so that's good. Vault of Latinum bundle won't be missed. Oh, yeah. See, this fight went 22 rounds. This tells me that Nero missed somewhere in the middle, too. Yep, there's no Tal fight here, so Nero missed. Nero went off in round 7. Applied burning for 2 rounds. So he was burning at the start of round 8, but now here at the start of round 9, that has expired because he was off for 7 and 8. So there's a miss, and then he turns it back on. So now Tal comes back on here in round 10. But look, Nero, if you're going to miss in the middle, I might as well just use Giorgio and take my chances with her. Let's export one of these. This is Axion with Tal. And let's go to Spock's Club. Whoa. All right, so these are the officers that we used. Tal triggered 18 times. Now this thing had 2.4 billion hull health. And if you look at damage done, I only put 5 million hull damage on it. So again, Tal did all the work here. That's a nice little way to quick see a battle summary and just be like, all right, so Tal triggered 18 rounds over a 21 round fight. Which means somewhere in there he did miss a couple of times. Which is what we saw when we scrolled through all the battle logs. You know what? Just for science, since we're all here, I'm going to leave the Tal crew on. Let's see if he does anything to this armada. I'm not needed for this armada. This armada is going to be destroyed based solely on the fact that Gan is here with his 200 million Sanctus. The rest of us are all just, shield blockers, basically. Guys here trying to pick up a little extra loot. So let's go ahead and roll the dice, and let's see if Tal actually does anything when we're talking about armadas. He's not supposed to. He is not supposed to work at all on armadas, because otherwise that would be stupid. You would just have 5 people take these guys, and you would just go hit the highest level armada targets you could possibly find, and all the Tals would just do all the work. Jungle Vision, welcome on in. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. I don't think armadas qualify as an opponent ship. I don't think so either, and it's not supposed to. Yeah, he's supposed to be on the list who is not supposed to work. But again, it's Scopely, right? We know how they program things sometimes. Occasionally mistakes happen. That's right, it could be a Bob Ross happy accident here. And since we're doing this for science, I mean, to be honest, it's not changing much. Like I said, Gan's doing all the heavy lifting. 5 of 11 is still going to give me all the loot. I'm still going to be about the same power, ship-wise. So my loot payout isn't going to change much. And we're still going to win, which is also the more important part. Because the Sanctus is going to do all the work. So, we'll take a look here. We'll see exactly how the battle log goes. Hey, what's up, Ninth Maverick? Welcome on in. Good to see you tonight. Hope your Tuesday's going well. Thank you very much for the 100 bits. Always appreciated. The cargo capacity. Cargo capacity on the Augur is 200k. Wonder if you could kill Axion hostiles with that. It's weird, because you're going against the triangle, but their stats are also so screwed up. I wonder if it would work. That they don't have a lot of armor piercing because they were coded as explorers. They have accuracy, which explorers have high amounts of because they're supposed to negate dodge from interceptors. And their primary stat is shield deflection, which is what the Augur would be punching into. Eh, as long as we're trying stuff, we might as well give that one little whirl. We'll try the auger, or I could use the Enterprise maybe. What's the cargo capacity on the Enterprise? Same, about the same. 204,000. Maybe we'll just use the Enterprise instead of the auger, so I don't have to worry about combat triangle shenanigans. All right, so we died. And just to make sure, we only got 3,000 loot off that. Ugh. There's Nero applying burning, as he's supposed to. No Tal showing up in the battle log. So perfect. They got that right. Their extensive testing and research and attention to detail has paid off. No, I get Brain Soup that they are still interceptors and their stats are backwards, but, you know, their advantage in the combat triangle is still kind of based off of them having, they should be based off them having higher armor piercing as interceptors, which they don't. Their armor piercing is actually low because they're coded wrong. So that's all I was trying to say is, would it make more of a difference? Enough of a difference? Probably not. So we're not going to try it. But what we are going to do is this. We are going to take the Enterprise. And just because I have room, let's throw Galinar below deck there. Because now I have a full assortment of lower deck slots at my disposal. Alright, now we're talking G3 here. So realistically, what are we thinking we can hit? 42s? Pilum can hit 49s. Valdor can hit 45s. Maybe 41s? DJ did a good video about using Kang versus Marcus against Apex, good as it wasn't 4 hours long. Yeah, that video was a week after my video about the same exact thing. I don't take it personally, though, because I know DJ doesn't watch any of my content, so. No worries. It's okay. A lot of people missed that video. But it was one of those things that we had a conversation about with a bunch of people. We had a good thing going. And then everybody started talking about it like a week later. It was like, oh my God, DJ just told us this. And it was like, son of a bitch. We as a group, there were like 30 of us on one night, about a week before that. And we kind of figured that all out and made it public. And we don't get any of the credit for it. Hang on. Let me just get that. I got a little something on my shoulder there. I think it's a little chip. I'm just being stupid. It's all good. There's a lot of people out there. I'm sure we're not the first ones to think of it either. So I'm sure there were a lot of people out there talking about this kind of stuff for weeks and weeks before it was even a thought that occurred to a content creator to put into a video. So no worries at all about that. So what kind? Lay's, Kettle? Definitely not Pringles. Certainly none of that Olean stuff they got going on there. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Let's see how this goes. Can we even kill one of these things? Oh, we did. We killed one. Hey, that actually didn't go so bad. Maybe I undershot the mark a little with 41s. Scazed, you mentioned that I came out with it earlier in the comments on DJ's video. Thank you. That's a very nice thing to do. I don't know if he reads comments either. I read all the comments on my YouTube videos and try to respond to them. But then again, I only get like a dozen or so it's easier for me to do that. When DJ puts out a video and gets 5,000 views or 10,000 views on it and gets 300 or 400 comments, him and Rev, I'm sure, can't answer everybody. But that's not a problem that I have. I like engaging. I like taking the time and answering the comments as much as possible. Even if it's just a thanks for watching kind of thing, or thanks for the feedback. Sometimes there isn't like a question or anything to answer to, but I still want people to know that I saw what you said and I appreciate it. And that is one of the things, that's definitely one of the huge advantages to our community over here on this channel being a little smaller than theirs. We can spend a little more time. We can be a little more personal with each other. I can actually talk to every comment that comes across the stream because it's not just flowing by at 300 comments a minute. I don't even know how to put chat into slow mode, which I see them have to do from time to time because stuff is just going crazy. I'm sure there's a setting feature or an option somewhere in there. All right, so this is going a little worse than I wanted to. We're not going to get 41s are probably not are a little too big, I guess. But we'll still get, I might still get about the same amount as I would off my Mantis, which is 100k. Maybe I'll get that. Maybe we'll go down and try something a little smaller. Yeah. Chat settings. Slow mode. Oh, there's the button right there. Okay, there you go. I just found it. The answer is always going to be in the comments on Discord or one of these videos. Content creators get everything from us, then they put it on screen. I wouldn't want to say everything. Sometimes we have our own original ideas, nuts. Sometimes it's the same idea somebody else has had, but because there's, 400 different Discord servers and 27 different chat channels, you don't always see it that somebody else had that idea. Sometimes you do see somebody else's idea and you're like, wow, I was thinking about that, but I wasn't sure if it would work. And then you see somebody else did it and you're like, well, damn, all right, awesome. Let's go do it. Let's go show other people how to do it now. All right, so what did we end up getting? We got 73,000, which is less than what I would have gotten. But we're also punching up pretty significantly on 41s. But let's take it down a notch or two. Let's go down to 39s. And let's see what 39s get. Does Tal make the Mantis obsolete? Real Cookie Monster? I want to say no, it does not make the Mantis obsolete. Because at certain levels, the Mantis is still going to be able to pull in about the same or similar numbers. And it's got a fraction of a repair bill. But I think for those people who are still working on tiering up their Mantis, or more importantly, still trying to get their research done, and they just don't have enough currency to be able to do double pulls and things to get extra parts or extra research particles, I think Tal is going to help them bring the ship along faster. Because let's face it, yes, I can get 200 and something thousand using my Pilum, which is double what I could get with my Mantis. But, you know, spending 100 million titanium on a repair bill as opposed to like 3 or 4 million titanium on a repair bill, it's a big difference. And then you start to wonder, how long is that sustainable? You know, if I'm going down and I'm using, if I'm using an Enterprise, I mean, this is a maxed Enterprise. We were killing 41s. We got 37. What's this guy using? This dude's using a Pilum in a... Why? Botch is using a Pilum to kill 39s. If he had Tal, he could go kill 49s. I might just message him, dude, go buy Tal and then go kill 49s with him. I am going to message him that. You should just go buy Tal and then go kill 49s much faster. If you bought your way to 52, you can spend the extra $50 on Tal. Hey, Just Q, thank you very much for the 100 bits as well. I appreciate that. Oh, well, Simon McGreal. Excellent. Welcome on in. Thank you very much for being here. McG Real. Yeah. Free advertising. There you go. Hey, people want to watch my videos. That's nice to know that people actually watch them, though. It's always funny when I see people like on my server and they're like, "Hey, I just saw your video." Well, I'm like, I didn't know you watched my content. I mean, I guess you're one of the people who are doing it, which is cool. But it's always nice when you get an actual comment from somebody. In game, too, especially. Usually it's good things. Every once in a while, it's like, I just watched your video and I totally disagree with what you said. Okay. Well, thank you for messaging me in game to tell me that. Could you leave a comment on the video, too? No, just kidding. Well, it's definitely more fun over here on Twitch. You get to have that live interaction. We joke around. And it always finds that it's always nice too, because I feel like it kind of bridges the gap a little bit. Like even alliances that like we're hostile with, or maybe not on the best of terms with, like people from those alliances are like, "Hey man, I watched your video and I really liked the content. I really thought it was really good and really helpful." And it was like, okay, cool. And it's like, don't take it personally when we kill each other in about 10 minutes in this territory fight, but hey, there's at least like a mutual respect there. So Shut up, Olympus. You can't believe I said elite faction recruit polls were bad. You're right. You can't believe I didn't say it was something much worse. But I was trying to keep a PG rating, because then I can appeal to a wider market, and then parents don't have to censor their kids watching my videos. What I should have said was, is there a bunch of beep, 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 beep? Yeah, that's what I should have said. A big old steaming pile of beep. Too many rich 13-year-olds to alienate that market. I mean, whether they're rich, their parents are rich, they hacked somebody's network and stole some credit card information. I mean, I don't know. But as long as they're killing stuff. Alright, so yeah, so the the G3 Epic does not seem to be doing better than the Mantis would at my tier. Because I don't have any problems with my Mantis. I think it's tier 6. Let's check. Mantis is... Yes, tier 6. So I don't have any trouble with my tier 6 Mantis killing 39s, 40s, and getting, 100, 110 cargo. So trying to do an alternate ship here and punch down with a G3 Epic, not really getting the job done and not worth the token to get into this space. What the beep is going on? Exactly. That's right, buttery mashed potatoes. That's what those things are. Those elite faction recruit packs are a big steaming pile of buttery mashed potatoes. Potatoes. Putting the kids to bed. Excellent. Have a good night, Brain Soup. Thanks for being here and hanging out. And Simon, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Now you can find your way back. For those of you new to the channel, I stream 3 days a week, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and Sunday mornings. I do have a day job. I'm not a full-time content creator. Speaking of day jobs, I'm going to have to be wrapping things up here soon because I have to go to our corporate headquarters tomorrow for a town hall type meeting. So I have to drive 90 minutes each way so we can have this big meeting in person, even though I work 100% remote. But they want, faces in the crowd. So they want to see everyone's smiling faces. So I will have a fun-filled 12-hour day with the commute, driving back and forth. Fortunately, it does not look like there's any rain in the forecast or anything, so at least I don't have to deal with that. It's already crazy enough. I basically have to drive through Philadelphia because our office is on the other side of the city. So I have to go from New Jersey into Philadelphia and then out the other side of it, a good 15, 20 miles to our regional office there. And, driving through any major city in the morning, never a fun thing at all. So Hawk asks, at Ops 22, which ship is more important to get, the Franklin or the North Star? Franklin. At 22, the North Star has basically no value for you anymore. You're past the North Star. The Franklin you need to level it up. It's not gonna replace your regular ships for killing swarms really. You're gonna use the Valkis for that for most of it. So at 22, you're gonna use the Valkis probably until your Franklin gets to like tier 5. Then it'll start to replace your other ships, and then eventually you'll work it up, and then you'll scrap it and get the Franklin A, which is so much better. But the North Star has very little use left in the game. It had a lot more value years ago when it took longer to go from 18 to 22, 24, and you'd spend months trying to get to those ops levels. But because of the way they've sped up all the resources and the way that they do the payouts and the battle pass and all these other things that they do, and they've increased the amount of rewards from events and things and missions, or holodeck missions rather. The regular missions are still garbage. They never updated a lot of those. But the holodeck missions and things that you get have a lot higher payouts of materials. So players tend to move very quickly from that 18 to 24, 26 range and get much better ships. So the North Star, it really just isn't that good anymore. It's good as like a quick, because it's got a high warp speed and it's got a high mining rate. It's basically, its primary use for most people is when you want to park on a node and send your real mining ship back to your base to drop off its cargo and then fly back. And, the North Star is just sort of holding your place. That's what a lot of people use their North Star for, as like a relief miner. Oh, this node's about to be full, but I don't want to lose my spot. Well, I'll just fly my North Star out there real quick because it's got a high warp speed and warp range. Swap the ships, send the other one back, dump off the cargo, fly it back out here, by which point in time the North Star has probably filled up its protected cargo of like 2,000, and then swap the ships back. So Irish asks, when are you going to come join the dark side and go 50 plus? Well, I just got to 49 a couple days ago. So it's going to take a little while to keep moving on up here. But I don't see that happening this month. Probably not next month either. But, maybe spring, late April, early May. Maybe we'll be going to 50. Yeah. For the value from like an event store or something, event store loot, picking up a North Star there just to have it, you get a little bit of use out of it and things like that. So, but I wouldn't spend time doing it with Cosmic Cleanup. I certainly wouldn't spend $20 buying it anymore. It just doesn't hold the value that it once did. Wear shorts to the meeting? No, I can't wear shorts to the meeting. Not with the CEO in the building. When does the Franklin A get good? The Franklin A is good even at tier 1. At tier 1, if you get the stuff upgraded and you're using, the right crews and stuff like that, you can kill your 37s and do your dailies. But the Franklin A is one of those ops locked ships. So at 35, you're limited to tier 1. When you get to 37, you can tier it up to tier 2. That's also when your dailies go up. So your dailies for your swarm kills go up on your odd levels, which is also when you also get the new component to tier up your Franklin to the next odd level. So it kind of keeps you pacing a little bit. with what it can do. But even at tier 1, which speaking of which, I don't think I did on this account today. We can take this one and do it. You know, where's my tier 1 Franklin? Not impressive. It's only 800, K strength or whatnot. 4,000 bonus. But, if you have the components all filled in around it and you're using either Pike Moreau Talon or Strange New Worlds crew, either of them work. In this case, I'm lazy, so I will just do this and take them. I think Strange New Worlds crew I get slightly better results with, but I'm lazy and I don't care, and I only need to kill like 10 things out here to do my dailies, so we'll just get that done super quick. Let's throw up the 1-day bubble. He did 7 kills in his Pilum. He filled his cargo up at 360,000. And he's very appreciative. Yay! We made a new friend. Look at that. We're just crossing alliance boundaries right there. How long does it take without spending money to go from, say, 1 to 50? I believe we finally have a free-to-play player. I don't know if Dekix hit 50 yet. He was in that 48, 49 range for a little bit. But he's completely free to play, and he's been playing since the game came out 4 years ago. And he's 48, 49. He has not spent any money. He has won some battle pass and other gift cards through different raffles and things that content creators sometimes do, but he spent 0 of his own money doing it. And I think he's 49 or 50 right now. Obviously a lot of that time was spent in the early stages of the game when it first came out and things were a lot slower moving along. I'm sure a free-to-play person who started, like if you started a year ago today, like I did with my other account, that's already up to 36. That account could probably get to high 40s much faster than 4 years, just because of how the game has sped up since then and how they've done more to help move the lower level players up faster through different events and payouts and things like that and rewards. And even the packs that you buy, the payouts on them are also have been increased, and now you've got the multi-phasic credits, which also increase if you buy them through the web store and stuff. So there's certainly, a newer player starting today, it might not take you 4 years to get that far. It might only take you, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3 years to do it, which is a big improvement, but let's drop him off. Who's normally in that spot? It's Cheng, isn't it? Yeah, he's usually there. Let's go jump into that epic, because we need all the epics we can get right now, so. Not sure how you managed to level past the North Star usefulness before ever getting enough battle plans to make it. You'll find that happens quite a bit in the game. There's a number of times where you just sort of skip ships. Because the amount of time it would take to get the ship or to get the blueprints for it, or then to spend the resources needed to level it up, you can actually move up higher ops levels and then do it faster. Oh, you're very welcome. You guys are very welcome. Dekix is 52 now? Oh, okay, so it looks like he has made a big jump. I didn't think he was quite that far along. I knew he was in the high 40s for a while, so you got to 52 already. So either he won some more battle passes or other giveaways, or he just hit some, maybe he hit some events and got some good payouts from those. Okay. I'm catching up on comments right now. Real Cookie Monster took you 1 year to get to Ops 33 free to play. Okay. Denver, your server's been operational for 20 months. The best of your free to play guys are hitting Ops 40 now. So about 2 years to get your Valdor. Currently, Ops 60 is the lock. Yes, Captain Taylor is correct. By the way, hi, Captain Taylor. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Yes, Ops 60 is currently where it is Ops locked. However, my gut tells me that may be changing this summer. I have no inside knowledge. I have no advanced information about that actually being happening or being a thing. But my intuition tells me that this summer we might see a level cap increase. And we might see some G6 content. Just a hunch. And then when it does happen, you can say you heard it here. They need to do something for the high ops players. Yeah, I mean, obviously the guys who have been at 60 for a while and, you know, have their 700 million Rotarans are going to start to run out of things to spend money on, right? So it gets to a point where you have to wonder what, you know, how long is it until they move that needle up a little bit? And then once they do, though, that is better for some of the other people, too. Because usually when they move to a new content, then they go back and they adjust the economy for the lower tiers. So when they put G5 in, they went back and they made some adjustments to the 30s and the 40s for their scaling to help them scale up faster to get into the 50s. So that way it kept them progressing. So the guys in the 50s didn't just rush from 50 to 60 and outpace everybody. And now suddenly there's no way left for them to kill. They had to make it easier for everybody else to then move up and stay, you know, in striking distance, essentially, for their higher level players. And if they're going to move the ops level again, that would have a trickle-down effect. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, when they're going to have 1 billion strength ships against your, you know, I got my Valdor, it's 12 million, woo, yay, and theirs is 1.2 billion now. Yeah, that's, you know, it's a mosquito fighting a dragon, and you don't have malaria to give the dragon. So there's going to be some issues there, of course. But it does at least make it faster for other players to move along as well. All right. Let's take a quick peek. Doesn't look like we got anybody else doing any Star Trek stuff tonight. Who else might be on? That we can wrap things up with. Well, that was a good fight. How'd we do there? What did we get? Another 3,700. Okay, well, slowly but surely, we will make our progress. Wonder if I have any directives enough to even set one of these myself. Oh, I do. I could set an epic. I could set a couple of rares too. Alright, well, that'll be something to work on while I'm having my snack and brushing my teeth. As we've just flown right on by tonight. And I think that's going to do it for tonight's stream. Thank you all very much for being here. I know I had a lot of fun trying out some of these different experiments with Mr. Tal. Thank you guys for being here, for throwing out some suggestions, for just making the chat overall more engaging. Grurim, thank you very much for the follow as well. Hope to see you guys back here Thursday evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And if I don't see you here Thursday, well, I'll just see you around the galaxy. Take it easy.